we can start. I'm going to start, Jules, with my brother again, and hopefully you won't need your accountant for this time.
I'll tell you what. Also on popular request, I'm going to keep my answers a bit shorter so we can go through more questions. How about that?
That's a good plan. Right, Justin, over to you. Okay, so a bit of a technical problem in the Espy household back in the UK. Right, okay, so I'm going to go to Adam. Hopefully Adam can come online. Adam is from, he's half Czech, half Canadian. Adam, do you want to come on and unmute yourself? Let's see if
yeah.
There you go, Adam.
All right, so I have a question. I used to play tennis quite a bit. I traveled to a couple ITFs and I played in Europe, but over time, I wouldn't say I got bored, but I lost the motivation for the sport, and right now I don't really play. Do you have any insight as to ways that would, like, I'm starting to want to play again now, and I had the idea of playing for fun now, but I liked the competitive aspect that there was in Europe, and like, I don't want to say it's not in Dubai because I know there is a competitive aspect, but in Europe it's completely different. Do you have any insight that would help me?
Yes, absolutely. Man, I just said I was going to keep my answers short, but I guess everybody else have to wait because we can't be losing our fellow tennis players here. I think it's super important what I ended up doing. So when I played singles, I went through a period where I didn't really make it how I wanted to. So my best ranking was 218 and I couldn't really break through. And then I tried that for 6-7 years and I was just kind of hitting my head against the same thing over and over. And I always maintained a ranking of 250 to 350. So I was always back and forth in between that. And I was trying everything and trying hard. And then eventually, maybe just like yourself, I lost, let's say, the fun in it, the pleasure of playing tennis. It became, it was frustrating. And then I think what's important for you to do, Adam, is to sit down, maybe take a little break if you've done that already, and really pinpoint the stuff that really bothers you or why you don't like it. I think that's really important to do. And that only you can do. You have to take that time for yourself and really analyze and be like, okay, well, these are, let's say, the 3 points that I'm not enjoying about tennis at the moment. If I'm going to start playing again, you know what? Then I'm going to make sure that I don't make these same mistakes again. And I'm going to focus on having fun. That should be number one. It's a sport. Tennis is a sport. It's not a job. It's not a, you could say a hobby, but it's a sport. It's something to be played to enjoy. That's the first rule of tennis, or that's the first rule of any sport. So you should try to find that again. And the reason I can tell you that worked for me, because then I had stopped playing for 5 or 6 months. And then a friend of mine called me and said, hey, would you like to play some doubles? And then I was like, no, man, I wanted to make it in singles. I don't really want to go the doubles route. And eventually I started playing doubles and it went a lot better. But I told myself, once I started playing doubles, for me in singles, you know what it was? It was wanting to make it so desperately that I was looking at my ATP points. I was looking at when I have to defend my points and all these things, like my scheduling, so I can make, 4 or 5 points. And I was worried about, I have to defend 6 points and I have to. So at some point I was so busy with defending the points and trying to gain points that I lost touch with the fun nature of tennis. And when I started playing doubles, I told myself 2 things. I don't know about the point. I'm not going to look at the points that I have or how much I make or whatever. And I'm not going to look at my ranking. I'm just going to play it how doubles was meant to be played. That's with a partner, having fun. That's how everybody on the screen, when we play tennis, when we play doubles, it's always been fun with a partner. And until the day of today, I never looked at my ranking or know when I have to defend points or how many points I have. So kind of, I hope that helps you, Adam. But remember, tennis, when you play with your friends, play it for fun, enjoy it. The first step is to enjoy it. And then every external pressure that you have, if you can pinpoint to them, then try to eliminate those.
Okay, yeah, that helped a lot. Thank you so much, actually.
We even got a view of you, Adam. I haven't seen you for ages.
Yeah, I turned it on now. I wouldn't have turned it on a week ago. My hair color was not the best, but now it's back to normal.
Nice for you now, Adam.
You're still handsome, Adam. You've still got a handsome look. You pain in the ass.
Thank you very much.
I've got a question. Thanks, Adam. I'm going to put you back on mute. I'm going to go to Hossein now. Hossein, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Jean-Julien, I just wanted your view on the recent quarantining issue and how that'll impact on the tour. Because the rumor is that you will have to be quarantined for 2 weeks when you fly to a country. As professional tennis players, you presumably are going all over the world. How will that work?
Yeah, I think the quarantining presents so many challenges for us. I think that's why tennis, as one of the major sports, I think we're going to be one of the last to open, because it's just so difficult to. For example, now when we start playing again, right now the deadline that we have is July 13th. That's when the tour is supposed to start back up. I have a feeling that during this coming week, we're going to get an email, and that's going to be now moved to September. And it's just difficult because towards the end of the year, we play in Asia, for example. That's the part of our tour that we go to. How do players go there? Do we go there, 3 weeks beforehand, where we have to go and quarantine for 2 weeks, then practice for 1 week to get ready for the tournament? And it's just so difficult on so many levels. And then not to mention staff members, chair umpires, ball boy, the whole thing. It's just very difficult. So I think the quarantining issue is a huge task. It's just such a problem for us. And I think it's gonna be the reason that tennis is probably gonna open last amongst these other sports. I think because we're so international, and it's one, like we can't go to Asia and quarantine for 2 weeks and then come back from Asia and quarantine for 2 more weeks, and then it just doesn't go. It doesn't. There's no way around it. And then I know that they're trying to. I think the U.S. Open's trying to find a venue where they can host the U.S. Open. I doubt if I know the USTA any better, that they will easily give it up to an Indian Wells. That has been rumored. They're very proud, New Yorkers are, and they want to hold it in New York, and it's a symbolic thing, and it's their tournament. So I just think it's going to be very difficult. What I can tell you is that July 13th, I'm entered into this World Team Tennis competition, which is played in the U.S. only, and they're looking at one venue to host it, and there's 9 teams that play. So we're going to probably be in one city. The 9 teams are going to be there. And even within the World Team Tennis community, they're thinking of not bringing international players in. So only play with American players or players that are in America at the moment. So, and you can't do that with the ATP Tour because everybody's so international. So yeah, it's a very challenging problem that we have there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Hossein. I'm going to go to Carol now. I'll mute you, Carol, and you've got a question for Jules. Carol's from the States.
Hey,
Hi,
Jules.
Carol.
I hate to ask this big R about the retirement, but you've mentioned, you are getting up there a little bit in your late 30s. What do you plan to do after tennis? Do you plan to open a Jules Rojer tennis center in Curacao or something?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I said this the other day on one of the chats that I had. Even now, during this period, it's helped a lot because I can obviously have more time on my hands to see what I'm going to do after tennis, because right now we just can't, nobody can play tennis. I never really thought about that, and I've been asked that question throughout my life, really. And I've kind of developed a thing to that question because, like I said in my other chats, like a plan B only makes your plan A weaker. And my plan A was just to make it in tennis. However, I was going to do that singles, doubles, mixed double. I don't care what it was going to take to do that. But during this period, luckily, I've had a chance to think about other stuff. And there's a few things that I would like to do. Maybe, yes, open up a tennis school in Curacao. That's an option. I also play for the Netherlands, as you guys know. And maybe helping the Dutch, the federation for 15, 20 weeks or so. But then there's also a part of me that wants to possibly get out of tennis and do other stuff, and including maybe going back to school. I have 1 more year left of eligibility to get my degree, and maybe work in a different capacity that's not on the tennis court, teaching tennis or working with tennis players. but I don't know yet. I have so many ideas and stuff written down now, and I have to go through so many things. But it'll be exciting. I think during this period, at least, it helped me to prepare for something after tennis.
Okay.
Thanks.
But I'm not done yet, Carol. I've got a few more years. I promise you. I've got a few more years to go.
You got to come back to the Winston-Salem Open.
Yeah, I will. That's our good luck charm tournament.
Yeah.
Are you based there? Or are you, Carol? The trophies that Jules wins when he's there are amazing.
Yeah, they're nice. They're the Moravian Star.
Yeah,
spectacular. Right, Jules, I'm going to go then to my big bro. Thanks, Carol. And I'm going to go to my big bro. So I'll mute Carol. And Justin, on you come.
Hi, Jules.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, Jules, I've got two questions. One is from me and one is from Paul and my mother. And I'm warning you that the one from the mother is a difficult one. So which one do you want first?
Let's go with the difficult one.
Okay, so this is from Chris Espy. You and your partner are playing doubles, and you find yourselves playing a final against the legendary Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Who's going to win?
That's a good one. I'm going to say my partner and I mean that. And the reason I'm going to say my partner and I, maybe it's not Roger and Rafa, but in the Davis Cup for the Netherlands, one of my first matches was against Roger and Stan Wawrinka, and I played with Robin Haase, and they were up 2-2 going into the doubles, and we ended up winning that doubles. I think it was in 4 sets, where I hit Roger twice. I'll just add that in there.
You're not supposed to smile when you say that.
It's really funny because Roger's playing the doubles for the Davis Cup, and he was getting so agitated, and he was complaining about my grunts, and we laughed about it afterwards in the U.S. Open locker room. But I was amazed that Roger would be irritated, a guy that's so calm on the court, by my grunts, and my grunts sometimes get to be really extended and long. But he complained 2 or 3 times about my grunts. He also got hit twice. But Rafa, I will say this: that's obviously a challenging match because Rafa, I think, is a better doubles player than Stan, even though Roger and Stan won the gold medal in the Olympics. But Rafa is one of the best doubles players that we have, and he's so good on the doubles court. So I have a very good record against Roger. I think I've beaten him 3 times in doubles, and I have a bad record against Rafa. So Rafa is really good. So it's a tricky matchup.
I'm going with the double specialists as well, Jules. I reckon you could take them. My second question, and this one's from me, is more of a stringing type question. My brother tells me that you can be a little bit of a tinkerer when it comes to your equipment. So can you tell us a little bit more about what time do you set aside for experimenting and trying new equipment, new strings in particular, with the view to getting that extra edge?
Yeah, it's double-edged sword for me, this one, throughout my career, because I anytime I have a month off, I'm trying strings, rackets, equipment, blah blah. I don't think this is a dangerous thing, Matt, because if something's working for you, you should stick to that, no doubt. But I also have a big part of my personality is to always try to improve. And one of the ways to improve is to keep on improving also with the technology. So I'm a big believer. I'm not comparing myself to Tiger in any way, but it's kind of the mentality of like Tiger winning the Masters by so many strokes and then going out and changing his swing a little bit because he still feels that he can do it better. So it's a fight that you kind of have with yourself. I have that a lot. So I'm trying strings. Because it does change the sport, doesn't it? Like the equipment, the strings, the rackets that we use, it's a massive advantage. So I feel like if you can find something that gives you an edge over your opponents, well, that's a big thing. So, but I walk that fine line, and I probably should stay above that line more often than not. I sometimes sometimes I go and I lose some weeks on tour. By that, I mean, lose some matches, and while I'm trying out some rackets and stuff, well, if I maybe played with my racket or what I'm used to, probably I would get better or more consistent results. But I also think that once I find something that works, mentally it gives me such a boost and it's so stimulating that I then automatically get a lot of confidence, and then I feel like I can win these big tournaments because my string's better and my equipment's better and my grip's better and so it's such a tricky one, that one. But I play with rackets and strings out a lot.
I was a huge fan of the vocal racket, Jules. Maybe we'll see that again some other time.
They might be coming back. They're never too far away. I've got a head in the back, but they're just
they're beautiful rackets. Anyway, thank you very much, Jules. I'll pass you on to someone else.
You got it.
Thank you, Justin. Have I still got my Chinese representative, Tong Tong? You have a question, don't you, from all the way in China? So would you like to come on and ask your question? Or are you a bit shy?
Yes.
How are you doing?
Hi, Jules. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
It's evening in China. I just finished working and go home.
Okay, good. Stay safe.
Yes. And my question is the COVID-19 influence all around the world. But some tennis players say they will not go to China to play the matches in the next few years. Even they give up the Asian tour. What's your opinion? And will you go to China to play tennis and with Horia in the next few years? I know in the past few years you take part in the ATP Zhuhai, Chinese Open, and Shanghai.
Yes.
So will you go China? And
good question. I'll start off by telling you this: the Asian swing. I know for Horia and I, that's probably one of our favorite parts of the year because of the culture and the whole thing. Like it's so nice for the players to go there, and it's so different to anything that we've played in the whole year. So that's the first part. I think the players, maybe they are a bit nervous to go this year because the COVID-19, it's new. We don't have all the information. We don't know if all of the numbers are correct and how many cases there are and all of these things. So there's a lot of uncertainty in this moment. But I am sure if we don't go to Asia, it will only be for this year, because next year already, hopefully, whether it's a vaccine or the cases drop or people become more familiar with it, it's one of the favorite swings on the tour that the players love to go to. So I cannot see the players not going to Asia for 2-3 years. I don't think this will happen. The worst case is maybe this year the players don't go because they're nervous or these things. But Beijing, I played in Zhuhai, I played in Shenzhen, Shanghai. These are the cities are great where we hosted tournaments with some of the nicest hospitality and hotels, and they're beautiful tournaments. So I think the players talk really good about Asia. I tell you another reason why the players won't skip Asia too much. Asia pays a lot of good money to the players, so they will. You don't have to worry. They will be in Asia. If there's tournaments, the players will be there.
Yeah, looking forward to.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Good question.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, who should we go for? Christian, I know, do you want to unmute yourself? I know you had a question for Jules, former foe.
There he is, man. Christian's bringing in some heavy hitting.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. I don't know if you remember a while back, we were talking at Hub Tour about when Todd Reed, you remember Todd Reed?
Yes, of course.
And we were saying how the ATP, or you were saying how they need to look into mental health. What are they doing about the players now that presumably must be struggling because they're not doing anything right now?
Yeah.
Is the ATP helping them with anything like that psychologically?
Yeah, that's a great question. The ATP actually started, so that point was brought up. I don't know if it was directly related to Todd, but it was brought up. And the ATP now have a program where they have a few psychiatrists on call, let's say, for the players, so that they can reach out to at any time, which I think is really important. And also in the I was mentioning earlier that we get weekly mails from the ATP with all the let's say the updates of what's happening and
Okay.
scheduling and prize money and the funding and all these things. And in there as well, there's mental health. So they're very aware of it. I think it's something that they've taken seriously. And we get in those weekly updates, we get also the updates or the opportunities to reach out to psychiatrists, psychologists to talk about these things, because the players, a lot of athletes in other sports also have said it. This period, it's difficult. Also, it's difficult on the mind for us. Like we're not used to this at all. So everybody's on edge. It's just not like a simple vacation. You stay home and you're okay. Like, no, man, we're used to traveling. It's a lot different. And I think it was Roddick on the tennis channel. Somebody said, like, we got to pay attention to like anxiety, depression, like all these mental health issues, because those things are real. And you can see them. I think football clubs have also put these programs in place as well for their athletes. And I know tennis is making an effort as well on that. So good question there on that, because I remember us having that conversation, but they've taken steps for that. That was super important. And so we have that available to us. Yeah, absolutely.
Christian, you're not just a wonderful backhand. You're not just a wonderful backhand. You've got great questions as well.
No, it just interests me because we were talking about it a while ago. So I wonder, obviously now with the situation, it must be really difficult for players.
Yeah, it was a good move by the ATP, because when we play out there, as you can imagine, everybody just looks at the positive side, but there's a lot of pressures. There's a lot of stuff that you deal with. You're dealing also with like you have your physio and a coach, and it's just tough, man, on your mind the whole time. And they expect the players, male, female, to just hold it together and perform and these things, man. There's so much mentally that goes into it. You guys ever have the feeling of when you travel and you get to somewhere and you're tired and mentally you feel like you're unstable because you're just so tired? We deal with that consistently. And under those situations, then in a couple of days' time, you have to then be competing for your, whatever, your job or your livelihood. And then, it's overwhelming at times. So the fact actually that the ATP took so long, it's a shame to do it. And we've had a couple of tragedies along the way with the stuff. But I think they're definitely, they've stepped up and offered us that service. So that's really important.
That's good. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah.
Thanks,
will that resource be available to the players when they retire as well, or is it just for current professionals?
Yeah, good question. I'm not sure. I am not sure. It's I hope it stays available to the players, unless they're like, man, you retired, now you're on your own. Go figure out your own thing. Yeah. I hope not. Another important thing is, I think I don't know how many kids are watching here, but the ATP recently announced, I think it's public, but at least to us, that they've teamed up with Coursera. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Coursera. It's like Coursera is like which I think is really good. I think it's, I don't know about revolutionary, but I think it's quite significant. Coursera is, let's say, an online college that you can go to. There's an app, I think you download and pop, and then you take online classes. So now if you play professionally, you're allowed, you can through Coursera take your classes or whatever, and you get actual college credits for those classes that you take online or whatever. So that's really big, because they've got proper professors out there. I think they've had professors from Yale, Harvard, like some top schools, some Ivy League schools that are helping with these courses. And these courses count for like full college or university credits. So I think that's important, because at least tennis players, when they play, they have the option then to continue studying. That's one. And obviously like studying, but then also getting a college degree while you do it. And last but not least, as we know, that if you can get a scholarship to a university in America, that'll help a lot. If you don't, then that's quite a lot of money. So at least if you're paying to play professionally, then you get help. You get help on the educational side, which can change things quite a bit. Because when I went to school, I got a scholarship, but if I had to pay for my schooling, that was going to be really a lot of money. But now guys can make the decision to go to turn pro, and then still have Coursera, this thing available to them, while they can still study and get college credits for those classes while playing tennis, which I think is a pretty cool thing.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I've got another question then we have a family. You'll be able to see them lying on the couch all together. I don't know if you can see them there. Where are they on my thing? We've got Noah Anderson there. She's down there. So we've got a question from Noah, Jules.
Hi, so I was just wondering more when you were younger and still having to go to like high school and you were still playing competitive sports. So how did you really balance your education and competitive tennis?
Yeah, this was very difficult. This probably was my biggest challenge for me when I was younger, especially in middle school, high school, because when I was what happened? Oh, sorry. When I was 12, 13 years old, I moved from Curacao to Miami. And my parents clearly said to me, look, you're making this move obviously because you like to play tennis and you're going to go ahead and pursue tennis, but we're going to do the schooling side by side with your tennis along the way. And the one thing that I had from my parents was that they told me that I needed to get good grades. If not, I would move back to Curacao. So my grades and my tennis just went hand in hand. If my grades dropped, then the tennis was over. I didn't want the tennis to be over, so it forced me to study. I'm not going to lie to the kids that are on here. I studied just enough to, let's say, be eligible for me to play my tennis. And I had that same kind of mentality also when I went to UCLA, when I was in university. I studied enough. I was not the best student, but I knew that the grades were important enough for me to keep my eligibility to play tennis. So I did so. It's a tough balance there, and you're going to have to be really organized. You're going to have to be really disciplined to do it, because then the times are crazy. And I'm saying the times that from going from tennis practice, and then you get home and you're tired, and then you still have homework to do. And then, you want to have dinner with the family, and then it's a short night because probably the next morning you have to wake up early and do it all over again. It's a very difficult balance, but I can promise you that it can be done. There's a lot of people that do it. And yes, I don't know what else to say on that, but what I can tell you is that it's super important for me, I think at that age still, to take the school seriously as well, because it gives you that educational part. It's going to help you also. It's also nice when you're playing tennis to have some distraction to get home and do your homework and do other stuff, that it's not just all eggs in one basket, so that kind of helped me to navigate a little bit when I was younger and keep a balance there between my schooling and my tennis. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, back over to Carol, back over to the States.
Yes.
What did you study at UCLA?
I studied sociology when I was in UCLA. I would probably change that now. I was telling this story yesterday. I wanted to do communications in UCLA, and when on probably the first day when you have to go to meet your counselors, everybody, when you go into university, you either know, I didn't know, but you either know what you want to study, and you can say that right away and start taking your general electives and your courses to get to your degree, or you just start taking those GE courses, and then as you take them, you figure out what you want to do, which is what most, I think, college kids do. That as you go through university, you're like, oh, this is what I want to study, or I find this interesting. And I went there, and I went to UCLA, where we have a really strong communication. I don't know,
Program.
Yeah, program. And I told my counselor that, and most student athletes, they don't choose communication, but I wanted communication. And I went there and I told my counselor laughed in my face. I was telling the story yesterday. And I was like, that's quite, and I was telling Elena, I was like, that was actually, looking back at it, that was quite hurtful, because I'm naive and I'm coming into university and I want to do communications, and then the counselor explained to me, well, look, if you're going to be an athlete as well here at UCLA, then those are not the people that make it through communication. So I quickly had to find something else. And then I didn't know what I was doing. Started taking general elective courses to see, to kind of navigate it and see what I like and don't like. And eventually I actually met my then girlfriend during that time that was studying sociology, and she loved it. And then I was like, you know what? She influenced me to do sociology as well. So then we took similar courses. We could, be in the same class, do our homework together, and that kind of stuff. So I was, yeah.
It was for a woman.
Sociology. It was all for a woman. Sociology was my calling.
Right. Okay. Well, we've got through some of the questions, or many of the questions. Steve and I have now got a few. Just so you know,
This should be interesting.
well, I'm going to pre-warn you, Jules, that I've done a lot of research, and knowing you as long as I've known you, I know that some of your answers that you've given to the ATP are a load of rubbish. I reckon you just tried to get rid of the guy, whatever. Because there's one question on there which I know this is not true. Right, so Jules, according to your profile on the ATP Tour,
Starting to sweat here.
on the ATP Tour website, on your profile, what is your favorite court surface?
I don't know what it says on the profile, but my favorite court surface is gonna be. It's a simple question, but it's tricky. It's gonna be clay right now for me.
That's not true. We've spoken in Habtour, and you did not say clay.
I'll tell you the reason why it's clay. In doubles matches, it's the only chance that we get to play extended points and to have rallies with guys, and that it slows down a little bit. On the grass, for example, I hate grass. Funny story, very short, is the first warm-up tournament for Wimbledon. I lose first round to Kubot and Karlovic, and I get off the court and I tell Lilian, I hate grass. I can't stand grass. I can't wait for the season to be over. That's what I told her. And that was in 2015. We ended up winning Wimbledon that year. So there you go. That's how much I know. But on grass, when you play, you hardly hit any point. It's so fast. So guys, it's all about serving and a return. So everything happens so fast. There are no rallies. The same can be said for a fast hard court, whether it's Australia or US Open. And then the clay court for doubles. In singles, this answer would be completely different. But in doubles, it's the only chance that we get to have some rallies, some longer points, extended points. We actually finished the match with a bit of a sweat, where it's nice to. You can travel to Asia and go play against Isner Query and lose 2-2 on a fast indoor court, and you hit 3 balls. And that's just not a lot of fun to me. So that's where that answer comes from.
Okay. Right, but okay, then the next one is, it says, who is your hero? And this one really shocked me.
I have 2 heroes. I have a tennis hero and I have a hero.
Okay, tennis hero.
Tennis hero should be Pete Sampras, should be up there.
Yeah, that's where I was a bit shocked, Jules, because apparently Jonas Bjorkman is your tennis hero.
Yes, he's the guy that I modeled my game after. Absolutely. My coaches, when I was younger, he grew up making me watch all of Jonas's matches because the game style, and he wanted me to model my game after him. So in that sense, Jonas is. But from a tennis achievement standpoint, well, Jonas is still up there. Pete's man, I grew up. Plus, I got 3 years of hitting with Pete when I was in LA. So, well, can't go wrong with either.
Well, look, that was one of the questions I wanted to put to you. Pete Sampras is my hero. I think he's my brother's hero. I think he's quite a few people's heroes on this. Can you just give us an idea of what he's like?
He's extremely he's extremely quiet, and it's a funny mix with Pete because he's so quiet and subdued, but so confident. He's the guy that thinks he can play golf with Tiger and play basketball with Michael and play, he thinks he can do it all. He was very quiet. He was very precise with his tennis. He knew what he wanted to do. Obviously, I played with him towards the last 3 years of his career. He knew what the practices, how it wanted to be. He was very organized. He knew what he was doing on the court at all times. Believe it or not, in the 3 years that we were together, he never practiced his serve, which is something I always tell the people. Like he never practiced his serve, which is crazy. For me, Pete had the best serve ever.
Yeah.
And the one lesson, I think I said this last time, was that I remember one day sitting at the UCLA courts on the bench next to Pete. We had finished playing like some baseline games, and he told me, "Man, you know what? The beautiful thing about tennis is that every day you step on the court, you feel that you can improve something because it's such an art form that you always feel you can improve something." And at this time, Pete had 13 Grand Slams, and I'm thinking, wow, what a lesson for me, because if I'm hitting with this man and he's talking about still improving towards the, like he obviously for him he had nothing to prove back then. He was the already the leader in Grand Slams or up there, and for him to say that, I remember as a kid I was like, Jules, you need to take that, and I really do take that, because I tell that story all the time, every day on the tennis court. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody here plays tennis. It's a beautiful thing. When you guys first hit the first 2 balls of that day, you feel like, hey, this day is going to be the day, or this day is going to be better than what I hit yesterday. And I think that's such a beautiful part about tennis, every time. And with Peter was his backhand. He always tried to get the elbow out when he hit the backhand, and he always tried to turn a bit more or open a bit more. So Pete was still working and appreciating the craft as he was, so many years in and so many Grand Slams in. But pretty cool experience for me, that one.
Jealous. Stephen?
Well, I was going to say, who's your hero?
Hero's my dad. It's my dad.
Always
my dad's I can't go into it because I get emotional, but it's my dad. My dad's our hero. I think my brother and I both.
Good to hear. Well, swiftly moving on then. I want to make you cry.
What's that?
I don't want to make you cry.
You're making me cry already, man. I can't talk about my dad.
That's okay. I had a question well, there's 2 questions in this one. One, what music do you listen to? And 2, what do you think of players walking out with headphones on?
I don't mind the players. I used to be a very traditionalist. I will say this, like tennis, we never want to change the tradition because it's such a classy sport or classical sport. I know. And I think we should be open for a little bit of that stuff. I don't mind the players walking out with their headphones, or I'm not saying that we all have to be Nick Kyrgios here, but like in, either cool outfits and stuff. I think we could use a little bit of that flair. And everybody obviously listening to their whatever music they like, but I'm fine with that. I listen to a lot of hip hop. I grew up because of my older brother. I grew up on a lot of hip hop because he listened to it before, and it gets me fired up. It just gets me in the mood to, in the right frame of mind of where I need to be. But like I told one of my buddies a few days ago, I also, depending on the day, listen to different stuff because sometimes you have so much adrenaline for a match that you want to listen to something that calms you down a little bit more. That's when I throw in my Celine Dion. No, I don't know what I throw in. Some days it's different than others, so.
What's your go-to song if you're struggling in the gym? Need a little bit of a kick.
Oh man, no, I have so many. I have so many. I have a lot of them are Jay-Z songs. Jay-Z, All I Need. Jay-Z with the Rock Nation, Philadelphia Freeway. I don't know if you know these guys. It's what is it called? That song? I listen to it all the time. Even though what we do. So I have a lot. A lot of them are Jay-Z because I grew up on Jay-Z, and I know that always the hunger and the passion and the grind and all the stuff in his lyrics. I love it.
I mean, if you want to rap quickly for 20 seconds, I'm sure we'd love to hear some bars.
Oh man, no, I'm terrible. I don't have bars. I'm terrible.
Come on, everyone's clapping.
Denis Shapovalov has bars. I don't have any bars here.
He does not. I think we've all seen that.
He loves it. He listens to a lot of rap as well. I talked to him a lot about rap music. The last time we played him and Felix Aliassime, we played him in this year in Montpellier. It was in Montpellier, Marseille. I always get those two confused. In Montpellier, and we were talking about rap music before the match. Even he's like, "Hey, have you heard that Eminem's new album?" And Eminem's new album's called "Music to Be Murdered By." Sorry for that. That probably shouldn't be. That's Eminem. And it's actually a really good album. And we were talking about some of the songs on there, and really, he loves his rap.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got now. First of all, I'm going to say I'm sorry before handing over to the next person because, well, good luck in understanding what he's going to say. So, Rafa, could you please ask your question? Sorry, Jules.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thank you. My question is about, you and me, we are not very young. So my question is about, the new rule of double. When they make the no ad and the super tie break. So don't you feel that they make it a bit cheap for the player as you who play only double?
Yes,
What do you feel about
I think so. So man, so many ways to go with this. You know, it's really funny. I think when you play a no ad and a super tiebreaker, then I think it evens the level a lot. So right now, because let's say I'm one of the top doubles teams, I feel like if I play a lesser team than me, then it helps their chances to be more even with us. But then I have to be fair, because when I was playing, for example, in my younger years, and the Bryans were still in their prime or they're still very good, then I felt like, hey, the Bryans are better than me, but this system gives me the chance maybe to beat them now. So it works both ways. The system is good for the fact that in other tournaments now, singles players can play the doubles as well, because it's less time on court. They know that if
they don't
sorry?
play too much. The best players, they don't play too much double as well.
Well, now they play more than before. So maybe I would say 5, 6, 7 years ago, they were not playing as much. And now you get Andy Murray playing a lot more doubles. I've played Novak last year in Indian Wells in doubles. Roger and Rafa. Rafa tends to play Indian Wells doubles a lot, sometimes in Asia. You get sometimes these guys to play more. And those are the top guys. As for the other guys, most of them will play. The Fogninis, all of these guys rank, let's say, 20 to 40. Kyrgios plays a lot. Jack Sock plays a lot. You have a lot of guys now that would play. And I think the system helps because they know that, hey, I can just be on the court for 1 hour and then I can recover and go back to my singles. But if it was for me, my choice, I would make it 2 sets, 2 full sets, so 2 normal sets, and then leave the third set super tiebreak. The third set super tiebreak, I think it's good because you can see in tournaments when it's happening, no matter who is playing, then a lot of people go to the court to see it because you know that in 10, 12 minutes, this super tiebreak is going to be finished. There's going to be high climax for the super tiebreak. It's more interesting. But I would, instead of making the 2 sets with no ad, I would play 2 sets with normal scoring. And if we cannot decide who is better after 2 normal sets, okay, then we go to the super tiebreak. But I think we should get the chance to at least decide the match in 2 normal sets.
Yeah. And when you play Grand Slam, what do you feel? Because Grand Slam, it's still with no ad, and you play 5 sets. It's completely
different. This is where it's very difficult. Also, we keep telling this to the ATP, and depends which Grand Slam, because some Grand Slams are 2 out of 3 sets, and then Wimbledon is 3 out of 5 sets, and then the weeks in between, it's 2 out of 3 sets with no ad and super tiebreak while we're preparing for Wimbledon. So it makes no sense, the scoring. It's not consistent across. We can have a better system or more consistent. That's why I say at least let us play the 2 normal sets. And if you want to keep the super tiebreak, sure. But me personally, I prefer much more the Grand Slams where we play 3 sets, long sets. I don't care to be on the court for 3 hours. Also, maybe the 5 sets in Wimbledon. Those are the best matches. Last year, we lost in the quarterfinals to the Colombian guys. And it was in a 4 hours and something match, 5 sets, beautiful match. So
that was the best match I've watched. Sorry, Jules, I had to put that in. That was the best doubles match I've ever watched, ever. It was incredible.
That was a good quality match. That was it was a shame. We lost with 5, 6 match points. It was tough.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raf. Yeah. Right, I'm going to go back to Hussein. He's got another one, and then we've got to make these quick now because I know we're going on to time. So Hussein, unmute yourself, and we'll go back to you. Thank you.
It's a very quick question about the next gen. Who do you think of the next gen is likely to dominate after the big 3 retire, or do you think there's not going to be anyone dominating?
Oh, it's so tough because the guy whose game I like the most is Tsitsipas. I really like his game. I like his flair. I like him, but I think because of his so much flair, maybe not, because Roger was quite similar when he was younger. I would like to see him. I think he's good for tennis. He's different. He's a little bit crazy, and he's different. So I would probably say Tsitsipas. Who else is there? I know everybody raves about this kid, Jack Sinner. Jack Sinner, what's his name?
Yannick Sinner.
Yannick Sinner. We call him Jack, but Yannick Sinner. I think he's very good also, but again, very, very young. I would like to say I'd probably like to say Tsitsipas. I don't think Medvedev will dominate. I don't think Tiafoe will dominate. I think Shapovalov has a very good chance, but he has so much talent and so much shot selection available to him that normally those players, they develop a little bit later on because they can do so much with the ball. I'm going to say Tsitsipas.
Thank you.
Jules, are you looking at Hussein's picture thinking, did I Airbnb my place to him?
I'm looking at his picture and I was like, is he in my apartment right now? Or what?
Right, I've got a question from Alicia. You might remember her. She doesn't want to come on though because she's embarrassed.
No, she's on.
No, the mic thing. I've got to make sure I say this correctly as well because I don't know how to pronounce that. So, from 1 to 10, how good would you rate your dancing bachata?
Yeah, I'm like a 4. I'm like a soft 4.
We were watching videos. We're doing some research last night, as we do, and yeah, there's a video of you doing a bit of bachata in a hotel hallway.
Yeah, that was the Davis Cup. I forgot who we were playing, but that's the Davis Cup. I was in the hallway. You know, the Dutch were they're serious and a bit boring, man. I have to bring some flavor to that team.
Well, Alicia is hoping that you two will have a dance next time you're here.
All right, we will.
I've just noticed Christoph has unmuted himself. Does Christoph have a question? Christoph, do you want a question for Jules?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Jules, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Just a quick one. I couldn't make it on the previous meeting. Maybe it was us last time, but at what point of your career you realized that you were going to get only focused on doubles? Because you probably, when you were younger, you wanted to make it at singles. And maybe I don't know what age, how old were you when you just decided to go full on doubles?
Some of these people listening in right now should be able to answer that right now. Let's see if they pay attention. No, I left college. In university, I already played some singles. But then when I was 21, I was out of university. And then from 21 through, I'm going to say 27, I played singles, where I was trying singles. And at 27, I stopped for a few months. And then I started playing doubles more regularly, more seriously. I played 6-7 years of singles where I tried to make it. I didn't get to where I wanted to with the singles. Then I stopped playing tennis for a couple of months. And then a friend of mine called me and said, hey, let's play some doubles. And that's when I decided to start playing again. Like I said before, not looking at ranking, not looking at points, not looking at, I'm just going to have fun playing. And then I turned my doubles into my second career, which has been very good for me.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jules.
I mean, sure. I'd like to point out, Jules, because obviously with the research I've done, are you aware that you actually have in Davis Cup a 28-6 singles record?
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
my father reminds me of that all the time.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. I think I said this last time. Some of my losses, if you lose for yourself, it doesn't, of course, it bothers me. But some of my worst losses that's really been sitting with me is that my Davis Cup losses this year in Kazakhstan, last year when we played in the World Tour, in the Davis Cup, the Madrid Davis Cup finals. I lost both my doubles matches. I normally have a really good Davis Cup record, so those matches, they really bother me. But I take a lot of pride in playing for the team and for the country, and normally I also have a good record because, if I'm allowed to be honest, we played against Honduras and Guatemala and Jamaica when I was playing. Playing against Barbados when I was playing for Curacao, and playing for Holland is a lot tougher and trickier. But still, I beat a lot of good players back in those days as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, for you to be, I mean, obviously you're very very modest about it. You've got a 50-15 Davis Cup record overall over Curacao and Dutch Antilles, whatever you want me to call it. Dutch Antilles and Holland.
But you know what's really funny, and this is how life works. The only thing I can really think about is my 3-match losing streak in the Davis Cup after all those wins. That's how life works, Paul.
I can't believe we've actually not touched on a subject yet. What do you think of the Davis Cup changes? I'm sure a few people would be interested to know.
Yeah, you know what's really funny in this world? I heard a lot of complaints about the Davis Cup and, oh my God, no more home and away ties and blah, blah, all these things. And then they threw a lot of money our way. And then everybody's like, oh, that's fine. Where do we have to play? Or who am I playing for even? Like all of a sudden, nope. Have you heard players complain about the Davis Cup after the Davis Cup happened? Very few of them came out and said anything because I guess at the end of the day, also, they financially increased the prize money so much. I was one of them that I would like to say I was educated on the thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give judgments right off the bat. I'm going to participate. And once I'm done playing it, I'll let you know what I think of it. And my opinion after I'm done playing is the same as the other ones. There's so much money in it that guys will not complain about it and they will keep it this way.
There we go.
There we go, indeed. Right, okay. Well, I've just looked at the time, Steve. 2 minutes to
for
go.
me personally, Stephen, if you were to ask me, sorry, what my conclusion was after. A lot more. It's a lot. That's. I like that feeling more. But again, I think most players would like that feeling more. But I think because of the prize money, players don't complain about it anymore. But the home and away ties for the Davis Cup is such a unique thing to play in somebody's home country. Or we have some of the best. The Dutch crowd, I love our crowd. Like everybody in full orange, the stadium, it's nice. They get drunk and it's nuts. But that's good. It's good fun there for Holland.
They probably do.
It must be nice playing in a warm location. Cool.
So I was just saying, Steve, they probably do a damn sight more than get drunk in Holland.
Yeah.
We'll leave that there.
Right, Stephen, we've got about 2 minutes to go because I don't want to take Jules' time up too much. Have you got any of your 50-50s or shall I?
Here you go for it. I know you've got a big list.
It's not a big list this time, Jules. I know you enjoy these ones. Right, are you ready?
How responsible am I, by the way? I just see my alcohol here, just chilling.
I was looking at that before and thinking, I wonder if he realises that that's there, but there we go. Right, Dolphins or Raiders?
Dolphins.
I thought you might choose Raiders, actually. The animals, lions or tigers?
Lions.
Horror or sci-fi?
Horror.
Oh.
I can't stand sci-fi. I'm weird.
Hang on, right? Okay. Well, I'm not gonna continue then with that because one of my next questions is favorite bloody Star Wars character.
I wouldn't even be able to tell you.
Jabba the Hutt.
Steve, I'm going.
You just put a dagger through Paul's heart.
I know.
You have a BB-8 jug thing.
This will be our last meeting with Jules, I believe.
You have a BB-8 canister drinks cup, and you said it was your favorite.
I do. No, but it's my favorite by design and by looks and by everything. And it's funny because my cousin on my birthday also gave me a little like a limited edition Star Wars hangers. But I don't know why people I radiate that somehow. I don't know what happens here.
Oh my God. Well, Steve, there's about 15 questions here related to Star Wars, so yeah. No, there isn't. Here's one that's actually I thought would tear you up a little bit. Holland winning the Soccer World Cup or Miami Heat winning the next NBA champs?
Holland winning the Soccer World Cup.
Okay, and then for you, winning another slam or winning the ATP Cup?
Winning another slam.
Oh.
Yes.
Didn't think that. Right, I'm just going to quickly look on the other things. Jules, I'm sure we've talked about it once or twice. Have you ever heard of touch tennis, the foam ball tennis?
Yes.
Have you played it?
That's a softball. You.
Yeah, the foam, the sponge ball.
And is that the one where they play all out, like full out, like it's quite fat, it's quite quick, or is that just?
Yeah, they've even Fernando Gonzalez has actually played in like some of the top tournaments of it. It's we do it quite a lot here.
Yeah.
So well, just so you know, we've got quite a few players here in the UAE who are like top ranked in the world at it. Actually, we've actually got the world number one who lives here, called Simon Roberts. We've also got his very good friend Paul, who's actually joined us as well. Paul has asked, considering the size of the court and everything, because it's obviously the width of the court basically, if you had to choose between the top four, who would be the best at touch tennis? Who do you think it would be?
I'm gonna go all four in their prime. And I'm gonna go with Andy again here. I'm gonna go with Andy.
Not bad.
Yeah, not Andy now with his hip, but Andy. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I really want Rast to come on and ask this question because I love the question. So Rast, if you could unmute yourself.
Yeah, I can. Hey, Jules, Raul here.
How are you?
From the Netherlands. Hey, man. So how do you stay in shape these days in Curacao? And is it true that you want to wrestle the donkey? Because I heard something.
That I want to wrestle a donkey?
To stay in shape.
No, I should probably create some legend like that. And I would be like Nurmagomedov fighting with bears in Siberia. It's really tough. Actually, how I stay in shape here is I chase iguanas around in my yard. No, I don't do that. Also, we have a lot of iguanas around here in my house. It's been actually really tough for me because I don't get to be in Curacao often, and then I'm eating a lot of terrible foods, and I'm not actually working out how I should. The gyms are still closed. I think they opened up yesterday, everything for the first time. So I'm a little bit skeptical of going to the gym myself still. I don't know. To be honest with you, I haven't done a very good job of staying in shape during this whole quarantine. It's been, I'm trying to take a different strategy. I'm 38 years old. I can't rest too much, but I'm trying to take this time to not wear and tear my body, to try to rest and recover a bit. I have a bit of a shoulder issue. So I'm trying to rest as much as I can. And then once I know, I also know what I need to be in tip-top shape. So if you give me 4 to 6 weeks, I'll be in the best shape that I need to be to perform. I know that from my body, from years of doing my preseason workouts. So once they give me a deadline that I think is feasible, so let's say in September we're gonna start playing again. Then in July at some point, I will start working out and getting in shape. In the meantime, I just go for these occasional jogs. I try to stay active, playing in the garden a little bit, helping my father with his yard. I do different stuff, but I haven't been doing a great job, to be honest, staying in shape.
It's not like 15 years ago when you used to wear trash bags underneath your jogging pants just to lose some weight or burn fat.
You remember that this is all the crazy stuff that I would do to try to make it. I would go play in the sun here, almost pass out some days because it's so damn hot on the island with like a latex bag on me that's accumulates sweat. It's crazy stuff.
Good to hear, man.
I mean, I can actually back that one up, Steve. Do you remember when he was at Habtoor and it was like 98
just about to play.
Mate, I almost passed out. What was I doing?
Yeah, but you went for a run. You then went for a run because you were angry.
Yeah, it was tough. It was. I can't tap out. I just have to hang in there until you have to push it to see how much you can really take. I remember that practice. Ilian was telling me, "You need to stop. Your face is quite red, and you look uncomfortable." And then I was like, "No, I'm gonna keep going in this one." Terrible.
To add to that story, it was midsummer in Dubai, about 50 degrees and about 1 p.m. 2 versus 1, of course. Yeah, Jules was so annoyed that he decided the next day he's going to go for a run, pretty much the same time. Can't let the sun win.
I'm not doing that ever again. I'm not testing the Dubai heat. It's gained my respect after that.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Well, look, we've had Jules. We've had you for over an hour. There's one question I do want to quickly ask. That was It was again from Carol in America. She just wanted to know about the the Olympic selection for Holland. Were you going to be selected, or do you know if you were going to be selected?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's really, we've been talking about that one a lot with all the players. We have 3, possibly 4 players that can be selected to go. We have Wesley Koolhof, that I think he's the highest ranked Dutch player at the moment. Then we have myself, Robin Haase, Matwee Middelkoop. I have certainly put my name forward, or fourth, or how do you say, to go to the Olympics. It's a goal of mine. Possibly my last one as well. So I want to participate. I think to go to Japan, I think it's going to be an amazing, if anything, that I've learned with the Japanese over the years. I think it's going to be an amazing Olympics. So I really want to go. And I think we were talking with the federation to try to push a team to go. For now, it looks like that team's going to be Wesley Koolhof and I. But then there's also different options, because I think Wesley also played with Robin and they did quite well. I've done well with Robin in the past in the Davis Cup. So it's I'm not sure who's going to go. I certainly want to go. I'm going to do my best to get my ranking and my level up to so that I can rightfully be selected.
You go with as a mixed doubles player as well, because obviously Kiki or...
And you can go with the mixed doubles as well. So either Kiki or Demi Schuurs. Yeah, both play really well as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Right, Jules, I'm going to say thank you. So, Steve, if you've got anything you want to add before I say farewell?
No, just thank you to Jules and thank you to everybody for coming on. It's nice to have such a good number. I'm pretty sure you'll all agree the questions were answered fantastically well.
I hope it was in a shorter manner. I tried to keep it a bit shorter.
Well, we did an hour and 8 minutes, and we got through more than 6 questions because of your answers this time. So that's a lot better.
Good.
Anyway, look, Jules, as always, I love seeing you. Please give my love to the whole family. Eliane is in the background. Love you to bits, and can't wait to see you guys over here.
Great, guys. Thank you.
Tom.
Thanks for having. She's saying bye as well here. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much, Jules. Great guy. Thank you very much.
Pretty much everyone.
Guys, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Ayo.
Yo,
Yo, Elia. Y Jules.